When new technologies come around, old technologies often become obsolete. Take the candle. Before, every house had a candle. If you had to work late at night, after the sun has set, take a candle and light it, and you got light and heat. But now, after the invention of kerosene lamp and now the electric light bulb, candle has become obsolete. No one uses a candle anymore. So after that, the candle industry declined massively. But when old technology become obsolete, they sometimes still manage to hold on because of a sort of historic value that people attribute. So candles, now they're used for romantic moments or for decoration because it evokes that kind of old-timey feel. And also, scented candles, people use scented candles to improve the mood of a room all the time. It's a new fashion. Bed Bath & Beyond candles. So this kind of industry, even after it's declined and almost become obsolete, the technology has become obsolete. But because of historical significance, these industries still manage to hold on and carve out their niche in the market. And this is what I would call a nostalgia industry. So here's another example. Swiss watches. Before, all the watches were mechanical. You had a special watchmaker who would put all the gears in the watches and calibrate them perfectly to fit the time. And so those watches were very expensive. Only the high-class people could have a watch. But after that, these quartz watches started coming out. And they were cheaper, better than the Swiss watches. They're better at keeping time, and because they were mass manufactured, everyone could have a watch. So people started saying, yeah, Swiss watches, no one cares about those anymore, because now we have these electric watches, so fancy. But after the initial hype died down, Swiss watches also carved out their own niche. Because of this nostalgia that people attribute to mechanical watches and, say, Rolex watches, Swiss watches became a status symbol. Instead of actually being a timekeeper, they became a status symbol. Only the rich people could have the expensive Swiss watches. So, because Swiss watches had this nostalgia, they carved out their own niche. Same with old retro games. Before, there was a very popular console that Nintendo made called the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. Could play a lot of games, and at that time was super popular. But then, newer and newer consoles came out, just the normal wave of technology. Technology is just churning along, creating better and better gaming consoles. So NES became less and less popular. People thought, oh, NES is just worse now, so I'm just going to buy the new one. Well, now there's an increasing trend towards retro gaming. People really like the nostalgia of playing my childhood games because now 3D games, it looked now even sometimes virtual reality games starting to catch on. But some people still like that nostalgia of playing their childhood games. Like for me, now the Wii has a Wii U, and they have a Nintendo Switch. So the Wii is already 2 generations old. But for me, because I grew up playing Wii, that's still very important to me. So maybe 20 years from now, Wii becomes a more of a niche market where people like to play these retro games. Even Nintendo started selling their NES system once again, just to capture this nostalgia industry market. And finally, a more recent example, mail and email. Before, people sent mail just by writing a mail and then putting it in a mailbox and having the mailman go around and sending mail and receiving mail to everyone. So that's how you would communicate with people far away from you. But now we have the internet, so there's email, there's text, so there's really no need to send mail by so for communication. So just in the early days of the internet, people probably thought, yeah, snail mail probably gonna die. So those mail couriers, the people who send and receive mail, that industry is probably dead. But actually, now that industry is growing more because of e-commerce. E-commerce, because people didn't think, oh, now people buy things online. So actually, the industry of carrying mail and parcels has become even more important. So that is not only a nostalgia industry. People still send mail just for the purpose of feeling nostalgic. But now it's become even a different market. Just like candles, now there's a different market for scented candles. Not for light, not for heat, but for the scent. Here, not for communication, not for sending normal mail, for sending online goods. So whenever we see a technology that seems like it's going to become obsolete, hold your horses. Maybe it's not going to become obsolete. One example today, many people believe the book, like the paper book, will become obsolete. Because now we have our mobile devices, we have everywhere screens, we have our Kindles, we have specialized reading devices, and we have these all-purpose. So people think, yeah, paper books become obsolete. And that's true. Basically, there are two uses of books right now. I either read a book at home, or I'm in school and reading a book to educate myself. And both use cases, at home I can read on a Kindle, at school I can read on a big screen or some kind of iPad, or maybe in the future there's some kind of new technology that can solve that. But the paper book, maybe what that will become, just a prediction, will become also a nostalgia industry. People think, I need to read To Kill a Mockingbird. That's such a work of art. And I don't, those Kindle e-readers disgust me. I need to read it in the original medium. So they go into specialty stores and they buy, just like people buy candles today for decoration. They're going to go to a specialty store and buy a printed book to read the book, and they feel, I'm devouring art in its purest form. So that will also, in my prediction, become a nostalgia industry. So remember, when something looks like it's going to go obsolete, maybe it won't. Maybe it'll carve out its own niche in the future.